comes one. It's working for me. Oh, your voice is not running. Maybe I fucked with the settings on this end. Like I muted a couple channels.
There we go.
Sorry about that. Yeah,
You're good. I mean, these are things that we're gonna have to learn as we use the cloud. But
also it's the old chat, and CBD is better apparently. And
yes, it is the old one. Sorry, I don't have one enough updated for our two faces. We've just been all over the place. I've been making solo ones. It's crazy, but guess what, chat? You got both of us today,
dude. For a banging episode.
And honestly, I know you guys are all like this, like Headshot. You're like, this should be fun, but I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm pretty happy. I'm not disappointed. If I were to be disappointed in something, it's that I'm still lingering on the loss of the magic, because like today's game, I mean, there were things we can improve upon. There's always things we're going to be able to improve upon. But jeez Louise, Mass Dexter is a computer now.
Yeah, little 8-bit.
But I would be less upset in general if we had won the Magic game and lost this game. But yeah, you're still on the loss of the Pels Headshot. But it's frustrating for me that, like, because this is a game where it makes sense to lose. You're playing up against pretty much a lock for the playoffs, assuming injuries don't happen anymore to them. But this is a team that you probably should lose against. We don't technically. I mean, maybe we have close talent wise, but like they've played together. They're like deep. They're built for deep playoffs. We're built for day one. But
for another year of day one.
Yeah, exactly. But so
that's a good point.
I'm not really that upset right now. And to be honest, also it's like Paul George just went crazy. Reggie Jackson just went crazy. And then it wouldn't be a Timberwolves game without a random white dude going off. So both Zubats and Hartenstein, as they were saying in the arena,
right.
Both of them obviously just catching lob dunks. It's just so yeah. Overall, I'm really not that discouraged. But did you have a different take on the game? It's also, just so everybody knows, I was at the game courtesy of Josh Okogie. Shout out Josh Okogie.
That's sick.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Can't get mad.
No,
Dude, how was that third quarter for you?
Oh, it was fun. It was similar to
like those first 3 minutes of the third quarter.
Yeah, so it was similar to the I actually thought the third quarter, and we'll get into this more, we came out with a lot more energy than we normally do in third quarters, but it was similar to the night against the Pelicans where we were down by 20, and then Ant went on his run and kind of took over. It felt very much like that, because Ant, at a point, his body language changed, and he was just suddenly like 50% faster than he normally is on the court. And it was like the moment of like, and I don't know if I'm just like reading too much into his body language or something, but just watching him, I'm like, he just like at a point gets fed up with the like lackadaisical offense that we have, where it's just where it's just like everybody's standing on the 3-point line passing it to each other back and forth, and he just kind of takes over and starts going crazy. Mass Dexter, we need to see chat.
I'm actually not seeing what he's doing, but I can see it in the YouTube stream that he's just hanging out with his gawk out,
Yeah, basically.
I thought this was a fantastic game.
Yeah.
A game that I don't think we were going to lose in the fashion that we did. I thought we were going to be way more competitive, and it actually felt like we were going to be way more competitive on the onset. And we were only down 4, and they were shooting 60%, right?
Mm-hmm.
At halftime. Like, Ant had a good run going. He was driving to the rim. He looked fantastic on a couple of those and ones. Cat was starting in the post, which was very bizarre. And then he stopped going to the post for the rest of the game, which was also equally bizarre. But anyways, like, we had some good rhythm going, and like other people, everyone was involved. Like, we had like one of the best outings from Nasri that I've seen in recent time.
Yeah.
And Josh Okogie maybe had some terrible calls go against him the first couple of minutes,
True.
but he had that nice burst in the third quarter. I thought we were in it the whole way, even if down 12. I thought there was like this little burst of like, if we could make shots, they can't. They just didn't stop making shots.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, we did bring the game back in the fourth, and the arena was really getting loud still. Also,
Cool.
I think the Timberwolves play better when the crowd is engaged, regardless of home or away. And I was at the game on Monday, and I'm telling you, man, from the minute we got to the arena, and we got there early because I don't know, we just had nothing else to do, so we went to the arena early, and there was like nobody there 30 minutes early. And when I mean nobody, I mean like I probably could count how many people were there. And then it started to fill up, but it was just like there was no energy. Nobody cared. It was just a bunch of people sitting together talking, not really paying attention to the game. And it was just, there was no energy. This game, the entire game, even when even when Paul George just kept making shot after shot after shot, they were still in it. And I think the Timberwolves played like the crowd was still in it because we brought it back to what, like 6 or even maybe 5 at a point.
Five at the fourth quarter, 5.
Yeah. So, and like at that moment, I mean, we had a couple. I don't know if they were bad calls in the arena. Everything looks like a bad call, so I feel like it's probably not. But
there were some bad calls.
Okay, yeah.
It's really hard to kind of justify some of these calls that go against us, but they do, and you have to just take it on his chin. Towns. That's one of the things that I've been taking away from these last games. Towns is just shut up, and he's just playing more methodical and within the system more so than trying to like get his and try to get after.
Did you say
the
Towns?
Opponent? Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Should I have also said someone else?
No. I was zoned out when you said the name.
Yeah, sure. Let's all meditate together. Let's
Yeah.
all find our inner chi. And Anthony Edwards, before he got hurt, looked like a player that was destined to bust out of this game and just break away and have a 40 points like effort, honestly. And when he got hurt, like I bet you like there was some rumblings in the gym, like, oh shit, should we just like keep him out for a week,
Yeah.
And when he came back out, he did not look the same. And I think that extra burst of rest for him, like in the end of the third through the fourth, looked like it was good for him because he came back swinging in the fourth. He started to drive. He almost went for a dunk. It was pretty cool. Overall, great effort by the Wolves. It's hard to say this kind of stuff with like, we could take these like moral losses as a franchise. We're known for like taking positives out of things that are so stupid, like a loss. But yeah, you can't really complain. If they shot 5% less, we are in this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, because think of it, if we're able to come back, and they have missed a couple shots, just even a few, the game's tied and we're there, and I mean, I just the fourth quarter was fun to watch. It was tricky to watch all of the Clippers shots go in. It was very demoralizing, but at the same time, there were a lot of plays. There were quite a few, and this is another thing that I was going to ask you since I was at the arena. And certain shots sometimes just look wide open when you're at the arena, but then at home you're like, wow, that was well defended. Because it seemed like a lot of, it seemed like a lot in the first half especially, a lot of like open threes that we were just like not closing out to. We had a lot of like miscommunication on defense where there would be 2 players running to close out to somebody, and then they just make the extra pass, wide open 3-point shooter, and then somebody like Josh or whoever has to like come from the other end of the court or like the basket and then try to get it. But that's what it felt like in the first half anyways.
There was a part of me early on the season, like the feistiness, the aggressiveness, the steal quota will be our undoing at times because buddy, you zoom in on that shit. But now I'm distracted, but can't stop staring at that nostril. But anywho, there was a point early in the season that I thought like we would take possessions away from the opponent by being very aggressive on defense and getting those steals, getting those like transition, like lockdown forced turnovers, right? And those would be possessions that the opponent obviously doesn't get. and that could help us kind of hedge a lead, if not push forward and surpass like a small cushion here. Um, when we are relying on our defense, we're okay. We're okay, right? Just like one-on-one defense. But when we are doing the switching, when we're trying to communicate, we're not communicating. When Patrick Beverley's not out there, when Josh Okogie's not out there, actually, also,
yeah,
we kind of lose a step. And like, the Jaden McDaniels, the Vandos, they're great and everything, but like they're also just like maybe not the best defender at all moments. Open three after contested anything that Paul George shot went in. Reggie Jackson would feed off that energy and make his shot. Eric Bledsoe would get to the line, get an and one or some stupid ass three that he does. No one else was really playing for the Clippers except for those three, and then maybe some Terrence Mann splash.
Yeah.
Right. So it was like, I don't know. And then like late in the game, Batum came to play. Right. Okay. Yeah. We let the people who beat us, that should beat us, they beat us. And they also kind of had a really easy game. The most cerebral player, the best player on the court, clearly was Paul George tonight. He looked phenomenal. In a weird way, I'm kind of rooting for him after like a weird turmoil of years of just like, who the fuck is this guy? And like, anyways, besides that, all that crap, kind of rooting for him and the squad as like a way to, root against the Lakers. But this team currently constructed, Timberwolves, like we just have a bunch of role players. And maybe like a third tier all-star in Cat and maybe like a potential, superstar in Ant. Like, I don't think this is a way for us to build a championship, roster right now. Can we build? I'm not sure. We have been very lucky with KG, and that was it. Can we build a team? Has this franchise really shown its ability to? I'm worried because on the defensive end, we've got one-way players. On the offensive end, we've got some one-way players where, last game Vando was shooting threes. Thank fuck he didn't do that tonight.
Yeah. He did take one.
Oh yeah, he took one.
And I was like,
maybe I looked it your way, but
I hated it. It was
in a nutshell, I'm kind of saying like the defense leads to transition offense. We didn't have much of that. We had some good steals, but they were kind of a mirage for our normal defense. Is a little stagnant. It's miscommunicating. It's not on the same page. Cat doesn't bark out orders. Every good defensive team has that like goalie in the goalpost saying, you can't now, thou shall not pass, barking orders.
Yeah.
Cat's not doing that. It's Beverley, but Beverley's always at the point of contact, right? It's just the way that this roster is constructed, the defense is going to allow this kind of play. Luckily, it's the Clippers who are kind of supposed to beat us, but unluckily, when a team like the Magic go off, they pop off. I'm sorry that I monopolized the time here, but that's kind of how I read this game. Is the defense was adequate, but the transition defense was great. Those steals were a mirage.
Yeah, I think, you're right. And, the thing that I kind of realized during the game, I was thinking, while watching your show last week, or earlier this week, you made me kind of think, because, I said earlier on in the season, I'm somebody that I just fall into this pattern of just watching the game, and I'm not really over analyzing any particular one player or play or thing like that. But I realized that I kind of do that when I'm at Target Center too. There's a lot of times where, when you're at Target Center, you have the luxury of seeing all of the different mannerisms and things that are happening on the bench and players going on and off the court, and like the coach on the other end when what are the reactions and what are the players saying to each other. So I was paying attention more to that this game, and
nice.
It's Cat's energy right now. I think he's trying to be reserved because he's said this, like when he swore on TV and he was like, I play with effing passion. I think he's frustrated because he wants to just be himself on the court, and I think right now he doesn't feel like he can be. And at the same time, I think this is the best version of Cat because I think I think what he should do I'm not saying that I don't want him to be himself on the court. I just think that it's better for him to play a little bit more reserved, and his role, which is a very elevated role on this team. But if he can do that, and then maybe he does need to, at first, kind of overcompensate and be very reserved on the court, not argue any call, regardless of how egregiously bad it is. But, and then maybe slowly work back in those things like, occasionally arguing a call, or occasionally doing like a fancy
slowly bring
pass
it back
or something like that. There's these things that you can kind of bring back, but like, that was one thing that I noticed. The other thing that I thought of is that I kind of think that Anthony Edwards might just be the best defender on our team. And let me say why I say that, because I'm not just saying straight up defense he's the best.
Block?
Yeah, that block was good. I thought that was a foul from my view, but I didn't see any replays or anything like that.
Oh, the fucking badass block.
Okay, was it good? That was incredible then. But I think it's more of like his quality of while also almost never fouling, is pretty remarkable, because you think of like Patrick Beverley, Josh Okogie, Jaden McDaniels, Vanderbilt as all
high foul count.
Yeah, exactly. They all have high foul count. They're all good defensive players.
They're a little bit more aggressive than Ant.
They are a little bit more aggressive, but like Ant is almost as effective as them without fouling. And I think that maybe elevates him to being one of the best, if not the best defender on the team. I just think he's a high quality defender.
Godfrey said it best. Ant is one of the only guys that we have that is bigger than the opposition at his position.
100%.
So on defense, he can kind of not be posted up. Like Eric Bledsoe does, on occasion post up, and he didn't do it, and he can't do it, right? Or like he's toe to toe with Luke Kennard, or like another like big, like even like Batum. Like you can't really fuck with him. I love that, and he can be that kind of bailout post player on the defense, on the defensive end, when like Cat goes out to like pretend to block a shot or go for that stretch attempt at defending the corner three. Ant can be that guy, like kind of like the Josh Okogie role, Vanderbilt role. Yeah, and that's because his fucking size is there. It's awesome. Yeah. It's phenomenal. We are so like lucky and privileged to have a guy like that, because on the offensive end, everyone's looking at him and Cat. We missed D'Lo tonight, and that's another thing that I wanted to say is another key to this game that was very obvious. We were making pretty well, like we were doing okay offensively, not great, but we were doing okay. But they were zoning against us, and they let like Jo and Vando and even like McDaniels like fucking wide open.
Yeah,
and McDaniels looked okay on a couple possessions, and like what the fuck was he doing on a couple other possessions? Vando looked pretty phenomenal throughout the whole game, but that's for another conversation point. Jo was left wide open, and he like had no confidence. The first half was left really wide open in the second half, and then like made 9 straight points, which was pretty fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
Like without D'Lo there, it's them zoning, and then Cat no longer can post up.
Yeah,
Cat can no longer really truly operate in the pick and pop at the top of the thing. And finally, can Ant drive? Well, he fucking tried.
Oh yeah, he did. Yep. And he's done that a couple times recently in multiple games, where he is aggressively, he doesn't really care if he's going to take an offensive foul or whatever. He's going to the rim. But
just without D'Lo there, like the zone is effective against us. Can we make shots? Well, we have 2 borderline duds on offense, and can we? I feel like there's been like this like flow of evolution of basketball players where you need 2-way players to be effective on those ends, and you can't just have 1.25-way players, right? Yeah. You can't just have an all offensive guy. You can't just have an all defensive guy. You need to have a hybrid, and you need to have some reliability on offense at all given positions. We can never play Josh Okogie and Vando together. That's already a detriment to our team roster construct,
especially against an offensive team. You just can't. You can't.
Yeah, like it would be so fantastic to put them on those best players. Like let's say Kawhi is back. Like, we want Josh Okogie, we want Vando on the Kawhis and the Paul Georges. But then what the fuck are we doing on offense? Yeah. Like, they clearly know where the ball's going. So, it's a poor roster in hindsight, but also it's an exciting one because we're seeing bits and pieces of, like, success that could translate into, like a new version of the Timberwolves. Nas Reed, 0 rebounds. We'll get to him when we talk about the tier list.
Mm-hmm.
But he was all offense, and he had some phenomenal moves. And like he ran point once for a transition bucket. Like we have some really good pieces that, if given time, could really push the narrative for our team's floor. But I feel like the top of the roster has gaping holes, and I'm worried. But this game isn't the game to really talk about it, because Cat played well, didn't do anything out of the ordinary. Ant played fantastic until he got hurt, and then was really struggling to find his rhythm. And I don't blame him whatsoever. And he actually was very careless with the ball at the end, and I don't blame him whatsoever. And then D'Lo, who is like as advertised, and also is currently injured.
Yeah, and looking great on the bench, by the way.
Looking great on the bench. He had some fit. He looked cool.
He did.
But like, cool.
Yeah, I'd rather see him in a Wolves jersey.
Yeah, like me.
Yeah, there we go, and me. But no, I think overall good game. Even though we lost, I'm not that upset. Still more upset about the Orlando loss, because then it makes this loss completely acceptable. If you win against the Magic and then you lose against the Clippers, that's what you expect. I wouldn't expect anything different. So I don't know.
It makes the Pels hurt a little bit more, and it makes the Magic hurt even more, actually.
And
this loss may have been expected.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We also are, I think, last in the league in strength of schedule to this point. As games played. So everything else from here is going to be significantly harder. Is that a good thing for the Wolves, or is that a bad thing for the Wolves? I don't know.
Because when we play down to the competition.
We play up and we play down. So we've played so far. This is lower than I expected. I did not expect to be 3-4. You and I both had expectations of. I think I was 5-3. I think you said 7-1 or something like that.
Whoopsie.
But yeah, we've had easy games. We played the Pelicans twice, so now
this is gonna be a rough stretch. These next 3 games are gonna be like a true test of who the fuck we are.
Yeah,
are we 3-7 or are we 500? Like, let's be 500, please. At the bare minimum, let's win at least 1 or 2 games, please.
Because if we are, we gotta start. We're gonna have different conversations.
We gotta have a talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you want to jump into the tier list?
Yeah, sure. And as we're transitioning, Godfrey says we were down by 7 with 4 minutes left, and then Patrick Beverley had a meltdown trying to inbounds the ball. What was that
multiple times?
What was that like in the arena?
So I
didn't understand. Also, I had the game on mute there for a minute.
The one where he swatted the Luke Kennard's hand away,
and then became a technical foul.
Yeah, so that was a weird one. The whole situation was confusing, because first that happened, and from my vantage point, I didn't actually even see him hit him until the replay came on in the arena, and I was like, "Oh, he hit him." I'm like, I guess that's a technical, but it still didn't seem like so crazy to me. And then the other thing that was weird was immediately after they got the technical, Ant goes up to the referee, and that referee. Both teams hated her. She was having issues with both benches, and everybody, like, I don't think there was a call that she made that anybody was happy. Yeah, nobody was happy with the call she was making. So I felt kind of bad for her, but at the same time, I was mad because a lot of calls were going against the Wolves, but then what happened is Ant goes up to her and he's like, he's not giving enough room for him to inbound the ball. And then Patrick Beverley just doesn't even wait for her to like do anything. He just throws it right onto his hand. And then they steal it, get a dunk. And it's like,
oh, that's right. Batum, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It was like, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on? That was super frustrating.
Like, were you trying to prove a point there, Beverly? I don't know. It's your former squad. I thought you were going to ball out tonight. You actually were kind of, we could talk about it when we get to him.
Yeah.
A little bit of a disappointment.
Interesting.
Maybe
that might feel different.
You have a different perspective.
Yeah, it felt different at the game, and that's just because he has those moments where he's like in the defense. He's like defending in their face. The crowd, I think it was in the third quarter, maybe it was the fourth, where he was up on, maybe it was Reggie Jackson, I can't remember, or maybe it was Paul George actually, and the crowd was like getting loud because he was up in his face, and it was really exciting, you know. And those kind of plays, I just think that they are important more than stats. However, stats wise,
yeah, I remember that play. That was against Paul George.
It was Paul George. Okay,
that was sick. That was cool.
That was cool, and I thought that was going to be a huge turning point in the game. You know, honestly, at halftime, we're going to get into the tier list, but at halftime, I almost tweeted out, I guarantee the Timberwolves win this game, because it just felt like it. It felt like we were going to win, even though we were down at the half. It just felt like we were going to, like, there was no way that the Clippers could stay that hot, and it felt like we were playing pretty well. But
it felt that way.
But yeah, anyways, we're going to jump in. If you're new here, I'll just go briefly. Tier list, we do this on a nightly basis. This is only for their nightly rating, not their year-long rating. C means that they played exactly how we would expect. Sometimes if we like a performance, though, we might bump it up to a B. But if we're on the fence, we go up or down depending on the win-loss. We lost today, so we'll probably go down. Yeah, we're going to also try to go pretty quick on the bench players. I don't want to spend like a ton of time on them, but there are things to talk about them tonight. The last game I went really fast on the bench, but today there's bench players that actually do have some things to talk about. But the first go ahead.
Yeah, let's maybe group all three of them together, like the J-Mac, the Noel, and the Prince. Maybe Noel may be the talking point.
Those three can kind of go in the same one. But yeah, Jalen Noel, Taurean Prince, Jordan McLaughlin, combined 5 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists with all three of them. Okay. It was good to see some Noel minutes out there tonight. I was excited to see that. Not that I have anything against Baby Mac, but it's just, I mean, we've kind of wanted Noel minutes for a really long time. So
yeah, he's another threat on offense. You know, it's like really nice to see that he could pose a threat.
Exactly.
He didn't really shoot much at all. He felt like he was just there as a spot minutes for Beverly and the point guard position, which I think maybe we should have utilized in the Orlando game. Anyways, it's nice to see him. He didn't do anything. He got 3 assists. That's kind of phenomenal. But okay.
Yeah, that's weird. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I think Taurean Prince is kind of not a dud, but he played well defensively. But we are also keying in on why he's on our team. Yeah, and that's to provide offense as a vet on the bench.
He's to me, he's a dud, and I don't mean I hate to say that against these guys because, like, I don't know, it feels wrong to call somebody a dud, but at the same time, it's like. Right. It's frustrating because I expected Taurean Prince to come in here as maybe not as good a defender as Okogie, but a far superior offensive player that we could maybe put in situations where maybe we don't need a super strong defender. We just need a little bit of scoring and some defending, and kind of play it a little bit. Like, you might see nights where we have a lot more Prince versus Okogie. There might be nights where we're playing like worse teams where maybe we have a lot more Okogie in there so that we don't have to worry about the offense as much and we just defensively kind of stop them. Yeah. And to me, maybe I just had incorrect expectations, but I mean, I just have no confidence, and maybe he doesn't either at this point, of his shots going in.
Yeah, here's the weird thing, and actually Godfrey kind of hinted at it. What about Balmaro?
I'm down.
We saw a little bit in the preseason, and yeah, it's preseason. We saw a little bit in G League, and yeah, it's a G League, but we can't do any worse. And Balmaro has shown that he can be a pesky defender. He's tall for his skill set and size, and he can run point. So A, while D'Lo's out, but B, just kind of as a general like ace in our sleeve, like a surprise. We could throw him out there and have like 8 to 10 minutes of him and see what the fuck he does, because I don't think he has any fear. I just think we're just not playing him, and I don't know if that's fair. Given his skill set and his availability. And Prince is not showing. Like, fucking put him on the bench and put someone else in there instead. Make him show it and then get his minutes back.
Yeah, agreed.
Otherwise, if Prince is not making shots, I think I'd rather have Okogie out there at all given point.
Same.
And Vando, honestly. So
yeah, no, I agree. I think Okogie should be out there instead of Prince right now because Prince isn't hitting anything. Okogie had over 10 points tonight. He had what did he end up with? He ended up with 11 points, and I mean 9 of those came within the same 30 seconds feeling.
But that's still awesome.
But yeah, he did it. Like, he's capable of hitting open shots, which at the moment Taurean Prince is not. He missed so many in the Magic game.
Yeah.
So many, or not so many. I mean, he's just, but any shot that he takes, he's missing. He took 3 tonight, missed all of them, and I think he hit 1 out of 4 at the Magic game or something like that. I can't remember, but it's just like it's just frustrating for me, and maybe I had the wrong expectations. But overall, the 3 of them, I think this is at this point probably what we expect out of them. So maybe C.
Yeah. Let's put C's for everyone. Torian Prince, bottom of the C tier, if not D tier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where there's Torian Prince, maybe D. We're still figuring out his real average at the moment because
we don't know what he is.
I feel like we haven't really seen him yet.
Yeah. I mean, we saw him that preseason game and we're like, holy shit. And he's like, yeah, I'm feeling like I'm back. I'm thinking I'm back, he says, John Wick style. Yeah.
Well,
anyways, yeah.
Next up, the next 3.
I'm demoralized all of a sudden.
Well, the next 3, we've got Naz Reid, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt. All had pretty good production tonight. All had over 10 points. Beasley finally became Threesley. And I started to have confidence in his shot. I knew it would happen. I just think that, like I was saying a couple shows ago, I think it's just going to take time for him. I mean, he had such a weird offseason. He was in jail. So, it's like how can you be putting up shots effectively when you're doing that? So I think it was going to take some time to get him acclimated to game speed and all these things. So I'm not still that worried about him, but it obviously, when everybody's talking about like trades and Ben Simmons and stuff like that, not that that's a possibility for us anymore, but we obviously want to see him going off for 20 plus a game, which obviously is not happening yet. But tonight was a flash of Beasley that we kind of expected to see going forward from last year.
Yeah, in a game where they were doubling Towns before he even had the ball, where they were kind of containing Edwards' drives in the early onsets of the third quarter, Vanderbilt came to play and had some like nice dunker spot shots. Beasley had, good sub minutes when Okogie had to come out or McDaniels came out, and he hit some shots. They produced in a game where we needed production from somewhere other than the 2. We got it from those 3. Fantastic. Vanderbilt is probably the highlight of the 3 for me, because we're kind of expecting like the 10 points from Naz Reid, right? We're kind of now wanting and expecting and sort of hopefully producing on a regular basis the 12 to 14 points a night from Beasley, right? Because he's our 6th man in a weird way.
Yep.
So Vando coming out with a near double-double is fantastic. And I think he was a big boost for us, getting like a couple key offensive rebounds and just generally being a thorn in the side of Paul George, whatever amount of thorn that was, because he still popped off, right? So
it's hard to judge when a player just goes off like that.
Yeah, so I would say like a B for Vanderbilt being one of the better players tonight, and maybe a high C for Naz Reid and high C for Beasley, because Beasley was also a dud on defense, and the Luke Kennards popped off on him, and the Terrence Manns were popping off on him, and he couldn't really guard anyone. Team low -22, which is a vague indicator of how he's doing on the court when he's on the court. But it was pretty fair tonight.
I'd be curious to see his plus minus every game of this year. That'd be kind of interesting to look at. But
totally.
But I agree with all of those. I think Vanderbilt was good. There was a couple plays early on where Vanderbilt was doing a lot of his effort plays, but like every time he'd do an effort play, it just didn't pay off. And I could just I could just see it in his face where it was like he was like, I'm doing all this effort and nothing is being paid off right now. And I thought I thought he might even be benched for the second half or something like that, because it just seemed like he may be falling off. But then, obviously, I mean, 13 points, 8 rebounds, 4 of 6 shooting, and he's become a pretty good free throw shooter over the last few games. I don't expect that from him. So I agree. I think a B for Vanderbilt.
For the free throw alone.
Yeah, for the one free throw.
Godfrey says, kind of weird that we had 5 players who had 12 minutes or less. That includes Jalen Noel, Jordan McLaughlin, Naz Reid, Torian Prince, well-deserved. And then we're probably going to get into them now, the starters, with Josh Okogie.
Exactly. And Josh only had 10 minutes. Wow, he scored more points than he had minutes. That's pretty wild. And he was a starter. But yeah, he had 11 points. Apparently nothing else. He had 1 rebound, but no steals, no blocks or anything like that. But we all know Josh is just the effort guy out there. So
Yeah.
he's trying to fight over screens, draw charges, all that stuff. But again, tonight it was just a bad night for the defenders, not because they were bad, but because the offense on the other side was just too good. So,
Yeah.
and Josh shot 4 of 8. I mean, we definitely do not necessarily expect that from him on a night-to-night basis. Sure, we want that from him on a night-to-night basis, but I thought Josh had a pretty good game overall, even though he only had 10 minutes.
Yeah, we did a really good job spreading the offense. I'd like to see Cat's shots go up. I think he had a lot of his attempts early in the game and like maybe late in the fourth quarter when no one else was able to take over the game.
Yeah.
I would like to have a healthy dose of Cat all throughout the game. But so that doesn't really mean at the detriment of Josh Okogie's shots. But it was nice to see that he had some attempts in the third quarter to get his. I thought the 2 fouls, the ticky-tack fouls on him early against Paul George were bullshit.
Yes.
And completely took us as a team out of the game. Because when he was subbed out for Beasley, Paul George popped off.
Yeah. That's true. And then he never stopped. I agree. Well, I would probably give maybe it's too biased since I got free tickets from him. But I would say I would be putting him in the B tier tonight just because this is better than he only had 2 threes. I forgot. The other one was an and one. And
then a couple air balls after that.
There was a couple air balls, but I have rose tinted glasses, so he made every shot tonight.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think B is fair for him tonight?
Yeah.
Low B.
He also didn't get the rebounds. He didn't get any of those hustle stats. So,
Well, that's because
I don't know.
Patrick Beverley was stealing them all. But
and he's next.
He is not next.
Oh.
I know, that would have been the perfect segue. But
let's make him. Yeah, go ahead.
The next one is our always least favorite to grade. Jaden McDaniels had 28 minutes, 5 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 of 3 shooting, and he had 4 fouls, which all happened within a span of about 60 seconds.
And I remember that. Damn it, that was stupid.
It was in the third or fourth quarter. I don't even remember. It was the last half of the game, but they were weird. One of them he had to. There was like a wide open layup or something like that. But the first 2 were just like effort plays and just happened to get foul calls on him. But Jaden, I'm all over on Jaden. In the beginning of the season, I had my hot takes of saying that he was going to completely fall off this year, and then the first few games he did not. He played like his regular Jaden self, where the stats aren't there, but the effort and just the overall like effect he has when he's on the court was there. And over the last few games, I've kind of been saying, hey, I know I had all these hot takes. I know he's not playing well right now, but I'm kind of easing off of those hot takes. They're creeping back in.
Yeah, this is not necessarily the first game that I've been thinking like, what is his role on this team? But like, you know how I feel when Josh Okogie gets that block or gets that steal or that hustle play, and it's like boom, the energy is like palpable and felt, and then it's translated to the other players. Jaden, win, lose, draw, has the same fucking expression on his face. I think that also translates. When he gets that steal, it's like, okay, we got to steal. We got to steal. As opposed to Josh Okogie gets a steal, he's like pumping himself up. He's galloping down the court. And like all of a sudden, like it feels like we're in transition, as opposed to something else, right? So it's a weird way to describe like Jaden's impact because he was a team high +10.
Yeah.
I felt his presence out there. I was watching him pretty hard when he was guarding PG.
Yep.
And he was able to contain, for the most part, the other players when he had to be switched onto him. But I don't think anything he did impacted Paul George whatsoever.
Yeah, and I don't know if there was really anything we could have done other than the thing that I was kind of annoyed with, which I don't necessarily want our players focusing on, but sure. Paul George had 2 fouls in the first quarter.
Oh, get him in trouble. Yeah.
Like if we get him a 3rd foul there in the first quarter or in the second quarter, could be a completely different game. And, maybe we were being aggressive, to be honest with you, off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly I wasn't paying attention to us trying to get fouls on Paul George, but, maybe we did try some things driving to the basket. I don't know. But, if we get him a 3rd foul, man, this is a very winnable game at that point. And not to say that Reggie Jackson, Luke Kennard, and their centers wouldn't go off, but could be a different situation. But no, I think Jaden, like you said, he did everything he could against them, but I'm not sure that really mattered tonight. So
Yeah. Yeah, another thing is like there's a role model on the other team that I think he needs to model some of his game after, at least offensively, at least like in the moments that he's unsure of himself.
mhm.
Find a position, at least model his game after Nicholas Batum.
Yeah.
Nicholas Batum, 20 points. That's crazy. As a dude who was an afterthought in like many teams,
Mhm.
was a huge reason why they won tonight. Because we were kind of trying to force the ball out of Paul George's hands late in the game, and Paul George and then Nicholas Batum was just making shots. Jaden was on Batum, and Batum was making shots, or was late to rotate to Batum, and Batum was making shots. All right. Maybe one of my least favorite outings from Jaden to date. He had the Andre Karolenko line of like 5 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal, right? But
Yeah.
it's like, damn it. Like, I need more out of him, or I kind of want Vando out there because he's a little bit more of a hustle player.
Yeah.
And, I don't want a Kogi and Vando out there at the same time, but at least like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Get your presence felt. Knock an offensive player down. Like get into it. Like
Yeah.
I kind of like the Patrick Beverly mantra of like trying to get into someone's face and grill and disrupt him, because that could throw them off. It could go opposite and it could like backfire. But like, who knows what's going to happen? We're down. We're losing. We're down a man. We don't have a D-Lo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, someone's got to stop making shots. Well, they like get into their shooting motion.
Yes.
Like foul them hard. Like, do something to disrupt the game that's happening, because it's just happening. You're letting it happen. Jaden's just letting it happen.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not trying to start some like New Orleans Saints bounty gate thing, but like I do think that if we're going to be fouling, I am sick of the ticky tack fouls that we seemingly are giving out on purpose
so often.
Yeah. So like, and I'm not saying injure the player, but like make them earn it. Everybody says this. You hear this saying all the time. Make them earn it. I don't care if that means slapping down on their arms. Occasionally, maybe this ends up being flagrant. I don't know. I'm not saying to commit flagrant fouls, but like just make them earn it. And obviously, Jaden is a good defender, but he's not the kind of guy that is going to like bruise an opponent, whereas our players come out bruised after every game because people are doing that when we get fouled, given we get fouled a lot and we don't get calls, but they're harder fouls than we are giving fouls to our opponents. So one thing before we grade Jaden, you reminded me, this guy at Twitter, T-Wolves Enjoyer at Wolfspeak3 said Jaden McDaniels just has a constant 1,000-yard stare. It's hilarious. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. But anyways, we love our Jaden. But tonight, I guess I'm leaning towards maybe low C.
Yeah, low C.
I don't want to give him a D because he was on Paul George, and for the most part, defending him quite well. It's just you're playing against an all-star. But
yeah,
I'll go low C.
Dude,
unless Chat goes
crazy.
insane and says that it should be something else. But
But
next up, the former Clipper Patrick Beverly, who nearly had a triple-double tonight. 10 points, 10 assists, or 10 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. Jaden next to Nas. Actually, yeah, maybe. I could agree with that. Sure, I'll do that. Oh my gosh, it's so difficult. There we go. What was I saying? Yeah, 10 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, 4-6 shooting. He only took 1 3 tonight. I guess I was expecting more threes out of him tonight, maybe as like something to just get back at his team or something like that. But that didn't happen. So I will. I thought this was. Did you say you didn't think this was a good game from him?
Patrick Beverly?
Yeah.
Let's do a recap. He started the game very well. I loved his energy. I liked the fact that he was distributing. He was trying to give the ball to Cat in the post. That was cool. There was a couple possessions where he was swinging it back and forth to Ant. which we were just wasting time
Yeah,
possession wise.
I
That
do
was like
remember
a
that.
little like suspect. Like, don't you know how to like go to the next option? Um, and then like it just became like a game where he wanted to get in the face of Paul George and like disrupted, which is great. But then it like really translated poorly in the game. Um, and I think it disrupted our flow when he would kind of sit back on defense, trying to like get back on the play, and then he was not in back on transition, or he was not on the right man
Hmm.
when we were switching. And then sure, he's getting boards and racking up assists and everything, but I can't quite put it to words. But in the third and fourth quarter, it just didn't feel like the Patrick Beverly we know. It feels like the Patrick Beverly that the Wolves acquire, like the aging vet that's on the swan song.
Jamal Crawford,
The Jamal
the
Crawfords, the
Andre
Antoine
Andre
Walkers.
Karolinko.
Sure, let's give Brandon Roy another
Oh
chance,
gosh, yeah.
and Josh Howard and all those random players, right? So it just felt like that version of Patrick Beverly, not the Beverly that we know and kind of like hated to respect, right?
Yeah.
So the first 2-3 games of the season were phenomenal, right? Like we were fucking in everyone's grill, and he was part of that in this game. It was really cool to see that first quarter, that first half. We were in the grill of those players. They were just making shots, and we were just doing as much. But that's, you know, I'm expecting more from Beverly, and in those moments where like the game is not necessarily in the balance, but swing, they miss, we make. Could be an 8-point game, could be a 5-point game. Was a 5-point game,
Hmm.
became a 12-point game. He is part of that. And I think he knows that he needs to, I don't know,
It was
be our leader on the court when we are just so desperate for one.
This is kind of an interesting one because I had a pretty good. I agree. It's interesting right now in chat. Right now, we've got the two polar opposites. We had a couple people say A and a couple people say Wancho deer. And it looks like they're coming to an agreement in the middle someplace. But I this is kind of an interesting one for the tier list, just because like what do we expect out of him? And I mean, for one, we don't expect him to be our starting point guard, but
Yeah, that's true.
at the same time, we expect it. We expect the Patrick Beverly to just come out, be Patrick Beverly for instead of 25 minutes, 30 plus minutes. And he
Whoa,
he
good
had
point.
he had some really high moments where when he was defending people like Paul George, like we were talking about earlier, and the crowd was getting up on their feet. That brought the crowd up. That then Ant got a steal, and there's all these things that happened that I think were maybe spurred by that. But at the same time, like Cristiano Ronaldo, long time built from day one supporter, says just crucial turnovers in terrible moments. One being that one where he gets the technical first, which hurt,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
and then second, he immediately throws it away for a wide open dunk after we had just gotten a 3-second violation on the Clippers, and then we had the ball again. It's like, oh my gosh, instead of us getting a point and then a basket possibly to bring this game even closer, we give it up, and then it goes back to them having like a 10-point lead again. And it's like,
Yeah.
so I can see both of them. It's just, it's a tricky one to judge because I think for me also watching the Magic game and how terrible we were without Pat Bev and only having Little Mac out there and not playing. We didn't play Noel at all that game. It's not fun to not have like a point guard out there, unless Ant is gonna start going Luka mode, God mode, which he's still only 20, still learning everything. So I have a hard time with this grading.
I think it was the 4 minutes. 4 minutes left. Anthony Edwards just loses the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually, it was like Cat misses a three. Ant has a costly turnover. This is after like Vando makes a dunk. They get a technical foul on something like a defensive 3 seconds or like some sort of like
Yep.
offensive. I don't know what it was. Cat was at the line. Immediately after that, like
Mm-hmm.
whatever that was disrupted by whatever the fuck Patrick Beverly did. That's with 4 minutes left to do in the game. And I think like that pass was stolen,
Yep.
which you said, and then immediately after, what was it like? Ant made a layup. Ant made a layup, and it like was kind of a an energy booster. But then it's back to Patrick Beverly, and he lost the ball again.
Yep.
And I think he lost his man. And Batum makes a three, or like Paul George makes a three or something. I forgot, or Reggie Jackson makes a three, and it's like, well, damn it, like who's gonna get the ball? Like, why is Patrick Beverly at the cusp of this, and why is he the reason why we're now down? And well, I don't know how to answer this, and I think I'm siding lower, you're siding higher.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think we might be thinking the same, but I think you're thinking of it as a low, and I'm thinking of it as a high.
Yeah,
I'm
low
think,
C.
yeah, I'm thinking somewhere in the C's. I'm not thinking that he was like a B or an A tonight necessarily,
Yeah.
because I think overall it's weird because it's like we had some really high moments, but we also had some really low moments. So it was like kind of somewhere in the middle. I agree with Christians in the chat saying he can't be higher than a C when he had those crucial turnovers. I 100% agree with that. I
Oh, interesting.
and Godfrey's saying Wancho tier. I just do not agree with Wancho tier, and I know that Reggie Jackson went off, but a lot of these times are just it's defensive miscommunications, and maybe that is partially on Bev or maybe all on Bev. But it's like I was saying earlier in the show. It's like we had a lot of miscommunications on defense, and I think that's more of just like a team thing where we're leaving people open. Also, I mean, Reggie Jackson is one of these players where you kind of just let take threes because sometimes he goes off and hits 7 of 10 for three, and sometimes he goes 1 of 15, and it's like you don't even have to guard him. He guards himself essentially. So he is a 50-50 player. Guessing wrong, I guess that does go against Bev. And like I don't remember many of the I was gonna say transactions, and I'm like lost now. Many
All
of
right.
the possessions where it's like he's really up on him, guarding hand in the face as he's taking a three. I don't really remember that. So
Yeah. Yeah, Christian Rondo is not wrong. He's pretty much spitting facts here, and he is carrying quite a load for this team. We need something to like kind of be the ground floor for us, right? To
mhm.
build on. And that's Patrick Beverly to kind of like raise all of our, boats in the tide.
Yep.
And otherwise we're just gonna be fucking sinking ships. And like Cat can't lead us to anything. Ant is gonna go off on his own, and like he's gonna try to carry himself, and that's gonna be the leadership, right? It's on Patrick Beverly.
Mhm.
But he's also expected, and this is your point, which I think is the best point out of all of them, is he's not expected to play 31 minutes. He's expected to play 13.
Yeah.
He's
And
expected to be that disruptive force for 5-6 minutes a half, 5 minutes, 6 minutes a quarter,
mhm.
and maybe close out a game on someone who's hot, or just be that veteran leader on the court when he's on the court in those like closing minutes. And he did the opposite.
Yeah.
In a game where we could have potentially even, dare I say, won.
I think we could have. I think we could have. And I think maybe we have the mindset of like when we got Derrick Rose, we kind of expected, oh, he's like probably near or closer to the end of his career. We're definitely not going to get like prime Rose. But then he came out and on a nightly basis was really good for us. Like he could be a starter for us. And honestly, I was yearning for that when we had him. I was like, start him, because even though it's not the cohesiveness that I guess Jeff Teague brings you, but it's like his scoring is just so valuable. And yeah, so I think we're kind of on the same page. I'm thinking probably a low C for today. It's Although the entire thing wasn't consistently a Patrick Beverly performance, we had some highs, some lows. I do think we had more lows, which is why I'm kind of leaning towards C minus versus a high C. So
yeah,
I think low C, maybe even bottom
yeah,
C makes sense.
whatever.
So
We expect more from him. Put him behind the giant baby Mac.
yeah, yeah. Oh, behind the giant, yeah. Why is he so big? That's crazy. Oh, there we go. Okay. Next up, the last two, the stars of the team. And first, we'll start with Towns, who was doubled all night. before he even got the ball. He had 18 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals. He was 6 of 16 shooting. Some of those shots came near the end where he was just having to kind of heave up threes. Well, having to. I don't know if that's the right word, but he was doing that. And 3 of 3. He made his free throws tonight, but he was a minus 12 on the floor. So this is an okay game from Cat. I think it's kind of tricky for him. He got blocked by Paul George too, which I think really killed him emotionally, because then he got blocked by Paul George. Paul George comes back. Paul George is flexing on the other side of the court mid play, and then he comes down, gets the ball, lobs it up for, I don't even remember, was it Hartenstein at that point? But
yeah.
And then as he's going back on the other side, he pats Carl on the butt as he goes back to the bench, and it was
he
like,
has some weird swagger to him.
Yeah, they were talking the whole game, but it seems like they might be friends or something, because they were kind of like, they had some banter going back and forth throughout the game. But
you're probably right.
Yeah, so it seemed friendly. It didn't seem like, it wasn't like when what's that guy on the Magic? No, not the Magic. Oh, there's another person that I tweeted about. He's on Denver. Bones Highland. It's not like Bones Highland where he goes and he's like doing the ice thing, and he's like, it feels not friendly. It feels like I am trying to hurt you, and it makes me cry, So clip that, Denver Nuggets fans. But
it makes you cry.
It does make me cry. Anyways, Towns, I think he had a pretty okay game. I know it's not stats-wise exactly, because you're probably expecting more than 20 points. I mean, he had 11 rebounds tonight. 6-16 shooting, like I said. Most of those came, or not most, but a lot came near the end. So I'm kind of sitting around like a C-ish.
I agree. I actually don't have a whole lot to add. I think you kind of summed it up perfectly.
Yeah, I talked a really long time. I'm sorry.
No, also, that was great. I also had time to look up a little thing. Yeah, let's put him in the C. Let's go.
C. Maybe high C, like mid to high C.
I'm expecting more out of him generally. This is kind of like worse than his floor game in terms of production.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just that. I would say probably highest of the C's.
Highest.
John Krasinski tweeted him an hour ago now. It's been this long since I've looked at Twitter. Cat goes, if I know one thing about slides here in Minnesota, it could go from 3 to 18 to 19, 20 real quick. We got to put an end to that right now, and we're going to have to put the work in. Dive more into the work. Oh, okay. Thanks, Cat. Also, I think I know what you're going to say. I think our first couple of games, you saw really gritty Wolves. I thought you see people who were really bringing physical really up into the opponents and making life hell for them. Right now, we're not being as physical. I'm glad you see that, Kat. I'm glad you see that. Finch on the opponent's attacking Wolves defense. They're obviously figuring some things out, as we all do when we go through these games. I thought we did a pretty good job of executing early. Right, I agree. There were also some small switches that were making it able for them to take advantage of that hurt us. I also noticed that JJ came in and gave a small little spat about rebuilding around Ant and then left. I hope JJ is okay.
JJ?
Yeah, JJ Crates showed up for a bit.
Oh, I see. I thought you were talking about a player for some reason. I was like, who's JJ? Yeah, it was crazy. Let's see. I was in his stream last night, and he was saying that he needs to take fashion tests. Oh, you're talking about Cat? Yeah, Cat was streaming on Twitch last night. So was Josh, actually.
Oh.
And I came in when he was watching. He was watching Michael Jordan highlights.
Is this healthy?
I don't know. But to your point about, and I understand these players have an obligation to talk to the media, and they have an obligation to say something when asked about it, and it can be as fake as you want, it can be as animated as you want, but I really don't care anymore until some of these words, especially from Towns, just because he's been here probably the longest, actually translate to anything, literally anything. The only thing that has happened at all is the foul call thing, which really doesn't affect the outcome of a game, other than I guess making us possibly have one less technical foul from you arguing a call or something like that, which didn't really happen that often, anyways. I just I just want to see some amount of action come from these words, so that I don't start thinking, wow, people that play basketball in Minnesota just don't care. They just are here for no reason.
Yeah. Godfrey says, Cat should put down that controller and do some push-ups.
Yeah.
I want Godfrey to join Cat's stream and say that.
Oh my god, dude. There's
That'd be
some
great. Dude, bring the house down.
toxic people.
Oh, really?
Oh my god, dude. It's terrible. I felt so bad for him last
night.
night.
Oh, really? They're like on Cat?
They're like, when's the last time you talked to Jimmy Butler?
Oh my god.
Joel Embiid owns you. And then meanwhile in Josh Okogie's chat, it's like all these like super peaceful people. And it's
sure.
It's like great experience. And then yes, you should be Headshot. You should be modding for him.
Headshot. Yeah, I don't think this is good for Cat to be streaming.
No. Well, I
don't think he's really. Is he like watching chat? Is he reading chat?
No, there's significantly more people in Cat's chat than because Josh usually only has anywhere from like 3 to 10 viewers or something like that. And Cat,
like us.
Cat has
the same.
Cat has like hundreds of people watching him. So he can occasionally pay attention to chat. But like he was watching the MJ highlights, and then he was also playing this game with a couple of his buddies where like the audience could participate and whatnot. So it was kind of fun. But that's because Twitch is infested with 14-year-old trolls. Hey, you be nice. That's where we started. We were 14-year-old trolls at one point. No, I'm just kidding. No, you're right though.
To Godfrey's point, Patrick Beverly responds to Godfrey by saying, "I got that silly ass stupid." Oh, sorry, not God. Or well, both Godfrey as well as Christian Rondo. I got that silly ass, stupid ass tech on my half. What? I kind of gave them a little bit of momentum. I got to keep my composure better. I don't know if that's a whole lot of English there, but basically he's owning up to his mistake.
Interesting. Well, I expect that out of him, so
yeah, sure.
I am okay with that. But I think we were on Towns. Yeah. Oh, we already did Towns. We're done with Towns. Okay. Goodbye, Towns. Anyways, last of the night, Anthony Edwards. Yes, the Jackbox game is what we were playing. That was cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's like a community game. We should play that sometime
Let's
here.
do that.
Whenever we have a loss, instead we just play games with chat.
I wouldn't mind.
I would be down. We may do that. Subscribe if you want to. Anyways, Anthony Edwards, most minutes of the night, even while being injured and going back to the locker room for that. I was very scared when he had his injury because I didn't even see the actual injury happen. Because it was at a moment that was like we were picking up some steam, and I don't know if it was when he went down because I think he got a steal. It was like pushing at tempo, went down the lane, did his kind of stop. He did like almost a pump fake, but I almost thought that it was like his leg kind of like slipped out underneath him.
Oh yeah,
and it was like kind of concerning. But he still made the shot, went back down, and then he fouled because he was like, I can't even be in the game. Because then he came back over the bench, and it didn't look good because immediately he's just laying down on the floor.
Yeah.
So I was pretty surprised to see him come back out into the game, but he had a great game overall. I mean, he had 28 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 steals. He's coming through on his 2 steals a game prediction, 1 block. Very good block. Super efficient night. Well, yeah, super efficient. But for Ant, relatively a super efficient night. He was 11 for 21.
Yeah.
And he was plus 9.
Plus 9. You know, he was borderline fantastic tonight. The only issue is, I dropped to my knees on his knee, on behalf of his knee, and it had me think of Rubio when Rubio had all that like borderline athleticism, and he was young, and then his career just changed in a moment. And I just had that weird flashback to like when that happened because that was franchise altering, really. And when Zach LaVine went down with his ACL, he didn't really feel it right away. He was still playing for another fucking 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, and
he's like, "Oh, this feels really weird," and like they out for the rest of the season. Okay, so I don't want that for Ant. And then he still continued to play, and he looked like he wasn't at all able to play. I was like, just rest this motherfucker because he's our franchise.
Yeah. He really is.
Every quarter, more and more, this is becoming Ant's franchise. I can't wait for that transition to fully happen. Um, I'm really hoping he's okay. And those words, like "I'm a soldier," is not like Jimmy Butler saying, "Oh yeah, I'm a fucking soldier," but really he's fucking injured, and then he's like barely on the
Yeah,
court at all,
exactly.
fourth quarter and overtime of playoff games. So yeah, I'm just, I don't have anything negative to really say. He kind of coughed it up late in the game, but also like I'm not bagging him on that because it's like he, what is he fucking trying to do? I don't know.
Yeah,
And I got nothing really to say other than I just want him to be healthy, and I really really want this full squad back for Friday because Friday night that's when we unveil our Wolves jerseys.
that's right. I honestly think we have a pretty good chance at winning on Friday. I mean, I think we showed tonight, even with red hot Reggie Jackson, red hot Paul George, that we can. I mean, we nearly had an opportunity to win this game. So I don't think it's impossible. I think we do need to come out strong out of the gates, and we have to put pressure on Paul George. But I mean, we kind of did that at points tonight, so we just have to hope that he doesn't go off as much.
Yeah.
So I'd say for Ant tonight, can't give him A1. Sorry, headshot. I don't know if you've seen our tier list before, but A1's for like Derrick Rose 50-point game, Cat and Ant 42-40 point game, like insanity. Never forget the performance.
Yeah, just storyline epic,
So and to be honest, I don't even know if he's an A tonight. I mean, he had a great night, but like I'm thinking like top B.
He's the top B. He's the top of our loss. On a loss, like there are some takeaways. There are some, just takeaways. But I just want the team to be healthy. Is that Jared Culver? And then Juancho Hernangomez.
Yeah.
It's so funny. All those fuckers aren't playing at all. Jeff Teague's not even playing anymore. It's like, hell yeah. We got role players from role players that aren't playing anymore, and they're like our role players are barely playing. Fuck yeah. The cycle continues.
Yeah.
Why do we get hype every year? This team is showing its colors. We are probably a below 500 team as is. We need something to give. We need something to go our way. Our season's getting harder. We're going to be facing the Memphis Grizzlies, who should be below us, but are ahead of us and are probably better than us.
They're going to sweep us this season. Remember, that's my little insider take.
Insider prediction, yeah. And those Warriors are going to be feisty as fuck in the coming days as well. So, like, this Clippers game is important for us to bounce back in our new jerseys. We can't paint another jersey.
Also,
those statement greens got to burn.
Yeah,
those statement greens got to burn. And I don't like these apron jerseys at all. I want the rest of the game. We have 21 games of that fucking sick ass jersey.
Oh, 21. Wow. Okay, good.
I thought there was 5. I was like, that's gonna suck.
Yeah, I know. Same. 5. I thought it was only 5.
those wolf jerseys when we got the playoffs. We only had them for like 5 games, and it was like one of them was game 82.
Yeah, exactly. So dumb, but
yeah. Well, I don't know what's in the water in Memphis, but they're looking fucking great. And anyways, we got the Clippers again. I think we are going to rebound well. I don't know if we're going to rebound, but we're going to rebound well from this loss. And I think if we get a healthy D'Lo, it'll be better. I'm predicting them not going for like 70 points from 3 and 70% from the field. So I think it'll be more even than this game, and if that's the case, I think we have a shot because we played for the most part below our expectations, and we still looked good out there.
Yeah, I think I think we had like a okay game. I mean, we shot 45% as a team, and that's not great, but that's pretty good. And they shot 60%, so as a team. So I mean, that's
Cameron
wild.
Annie Oop's going to be at the game. Look for her.
Annie Oop, you were supposed to airdrop me something at the Monday game. I got no airdrop. There was supposed to be some secret thing. I told my dad, my wife, my friend that I was at the game with, I was like, just so you know, if something insane pops up on my phone, it's from Annie Oop. But I did not get that. But I guess I'll have to tell you what section I'm sitting in. You forgot what section. Oh, man. Sad.
Oh, wait. She works there?
Oh, really?
Wait. What airdrop? I don't understand airdrop.
Oh no, Annie Oop was just gonna be at the game.
Oh,
So
okay. I'm sorry. I
yeah,
don't know.
we were chatting at the end of one of our shows recently, but
Sure.
I think that was one of the shows where it was just me. But
Yeah.
um,
Cool. Well, I'll be there again for Friday
me
as
too.
I get to be, and I don't have anything going on. So, looking forward to that game and those jerseys and a dub, hopefully. My bold prediction is D'Lo plays.
Okay, because it is just a sprained ankle or something ankle related.
I don't even know anymore.
I think it's well, I heard at first was a sprained ankle, which made me a little nervous because I'm like, sometimes sprained ankles can, depending on how bad they are, last weeks. So I hope he does play. But yeah, I'm excited for the game. I will also be at that game. Thank you, Arby's. Not as good seats as the Josh Okogie seats. Again,
you're going to these games for like $1, man. That's
I haven't bought a ticket yet.
That's insane. That's so good.
And yes, pro tip.
Says the next 10 games. Go ahead.
Yeah, take the light rail to the games. It's so cheap. The schedule for the next 10 games is looking tough. It could be dismal. It really could. I mean, that's why it was important to win these games. We have so many home games and games against bad teams like the Pelicans. We have to win these. And that's what, again, I know that's kind of how we started the show, and I guess this is how we're going to end it. We, if we lose to the good teams, that makes sense. If we win against the bad teams, that makes sense. That is acceptable to me. What is not acceptable is having a team that can beat these good teams and then lose to these bad teams. Now, if you can stay 500 somehow throughout the season, that's good for you, because then you get to the playoffs, you can play up to your opponent's level and maybe show out, be unexpected, get some, catch some teams off guard. But yeah, we do have Latrice Sprewell with us here on Friday too. We
have Latrell Sprewell.
He is joining the show after the game. Yes. No. No. He's like a special guest on Friday or something like that. I don't know. But
interesting.
Pro tip: move to 136 or 109 after the first quarter if you have nosebleeds. Headshot, I would. However, tonight when I was sitting at the seat that Josh gave me, there was a guy kicking people out of seats left and right. He was like, "Nope, show me your tickets." And they just kept being like, "Why do you have to do this? We're in like the third quarter." And he's like, "No, get out." So they might be cracking down a little bit on that, just FYI. But
wow.
I do think the 136 thing though might be true, because I've had many times where they were like, I actually have gone down to 136 before, and that's worked. But I was in section 133, row G.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, that was cool. But yeah, so that's the show today. I appreciate everybody who came out. If you're new here, drop a sub or whatever it's called, like the stream, share it with a friend, come back next time, because we will be here next time after Friday. So keep an eye out for us. I think we're both there for that game. I mean, I am. You said you were?
I'll be here. Yeah, I won't be at the game yet.
Yeah, no, you won't be at the game. That's understandable.
That's understandable.
But he's moving to what is it, Tolosa? That's what I see.
Oh, that is so that yeah.
We gotta have
some fucking linebacker with Mark Laurie today.
Yeah,
on the jumbotron.
I think Eric Kendricks or something like that.
Yeah,
but
whatever.
I don't know football. Anyways, that's it. That's all I've got. We'll be back. We'll be back Friday. I don't know if we're gonna have any highlight videos up from this game. It was. Yeah. I don't know if there's anything highlight.
We got the 9-point Josh Okogie remix.
Yeah, I guess we could do Josh Okogie, but that would only. That highlight video would only last like 50 seconds. Yeah. By the way, check out my TikTok. My TikTok is lit. I think that is the funniest TikTok. I was laughing at myself. It's genius. I just put it out there today. It's only got 123 views and only 6 likes. Everybody go like it.
I will do that. I have to reinstall.
Bold prediction from Godfrey about Tolosa. It will never happen.
It will never happen.
True. I would put money on that.
I love it.
I would put money on that.
You're so negative, Godfrey. I want to meet you in person, honestly.
Godfrey, I want to be around for us winning.
I want to be your friend in real life.
Seriously, yeah. You should join us when we went to B-Dubs for oh man. Godfrey, you should have been with us at the Kings game. Oh my God.
I might just move back to Minnesota just so we could just do that.
No. Let me move back to Washington.
Okay.
There's nothing here.
All right.
But anyways, okay, we're really done. Goodbye, everyone. I love you
Bye.
all.
Love you too.
Give us likes. Give us subscriptions.
Give yourself a like.
Give yourself a like. And take care of each other.
Take care of each other. Yes.
All right. Thank you, Godfrey. Good night, everybody.
And bye to you too, Cameron.
Bye.